ride van, sportbiketrackgear.com, and today we're going to install a set of Woodcraft rear sets on our 2015 Yamaha YZF R1 sportbiketrackgear.com project bike. My buddy Eric Wood was the first out of the gate with commercially available rear sets for the big Yamaha. You guys know we are one of their biggest dealers, proud to be so. They make some of the best stuff in the industry. Here is the packaging for our all new R1 rear sets. They package each side individually. We are going to begin here on the brake side of the motorcycle. He did a really nice job on these, okay? You can see that we've got two places to mount the foot peg. So you're able to raise it, and it's also an eccentric foot peg. So you're able to rotate that thing around, choosing one of the 6 different positions. You can see clearly the foot peg has an eccentric built into it. So there is a good, solid amount of adjustability built into this. It comes complete with the brake pedal, the heel guard, and this kit is able to do GP or standard shift right out of the box. First thing we're going to do is unpackage, take a look at the instructions, remove our stock rear sets, and then begin the assembly process. Stock stuff off. We're ready to go. I've looked these over and there's a ton of engineering here, right? Eric definitely outdid himself. 2 levels of adjustment to choose from on this foot peg, along with his famous eccentric peg. I wasn't really dissatisfied with the height of the pegs, you know, on my first ride. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the lower level. I want to move them back just a wee little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pick this hole, like so. I am not going to use Loctite on this fastener right now. And there's a reason for that. It's because I don't know if I'm going to like this position. I'm going to want to play with these a little bit. So, that said, we're going to roll dirty here without Loctite, but look at, we're using a giant 10 mil fastener with a tapered head. Okay, there is a ton of mechanical grip here from this tapered seat, so I'm really not worried about this coming loose until I finalize my position. Snug that up. Tons of grip from his foot pegs, really appreciate that. He gives you a nice end cap to finish these. If you want to do so, you can put that in there, and it just kind of cleans up the look a little bit, like so. Brake pedal. I want to get my rear brake pedal all put together. Put some blue Loctite here on our fasteners. Get those started. Once again, all tapered fasteners, so you too have the benefit of the mechanical grip on top of the Loctite, which is just going to hedge the bed and make sure this stuff's not going to come apart. Their stuff's very modular, okay, so it gives you the benefit of, if you do have a wreck, you are able to get literally every little piece, right? We have all this available. You know, shoot us an email or a phone call if you ever have needs like that. We don't list each individual piece on the site, but we are here to take care of you anytime you need it. Let's go ahead and get these run down. Nice and snug. This will be a permanent fixture. This will not come apart again if everything goes according to plan. Okay, now we have the toe piece. He has this really cool eccentric piece that he's built here again, okay? So you're able to move this thing all around, right? So many different positions, shorten the lever, lengthen the lever, up, down, all around, very cool. How this is going to start is we're going to bolt the foot peg, the toe piece here, to the bracket supplied. Of course, Loctite is used, like so. Snug that up. Loctite on this bad boy. And I'm going to go out and down. Once again, you know, A lot of adjustability available here. This is something that as time wears on, right? You might want to dial this in, especially if you are a rear brake user. Snug it up. Critical step here, lubrication. We want to lubricate the brake pivot. Just a little bit of grease, got a good quality synthetic Mobil 1 grease here. An old screwdriver with the tip ground off. Allows you to put a nice thin film of grease in there. I'm going to go ahead and push that OE bolt through. OE washer. A little bit of thread locker. And then we will bolt this to our bracket. When you're done, you want to make sure that the movement is free and smooth. Perfect, feels great. Okay, now we have this bracket. It's going to allow us to use our stock Yamaha exhaust bracket. It's already anodized, so it's going to look cool, right? Got a couple of supplied fasteners here. We're going to use Loctite on that bad boy. Loctite on this one. Run these down. Like so. Okay. See, we are making some progress here now. Okay. For the bracket itself, there's another fastener supplied here. Dot of blue on that. Bad boy started in there. Not gonna tighten this up yet because we have some other pieces here that are going to come into play. Just going to get that close. Okay, now we have our heel guard, our master bolts here. Comes with 3 spacers, 2 different sizes. Okay, the larger of the sizes is the one that's going to be used here to attach the exhaust bracket to the heel guard. Go ahead and put a little thread locker on that. As I'm going through this, I just realized I put my brake lever on backwards. So before we get this to the motorcycle, I should probably edit this out, but I think we'll just leave it. I'm going to go ahead and flip my brake pedal over. This is a good example of exactly how real these videos truly are. And we'll just give an extra coating here of thread locker. I lost some of that after installing it backwards, Van. Can't wait to see the comments on that one. That's going to be awesome. Okay. All right, little excess grease on there. We're going to wipe that off while I have my brake pedal on in the right direction. Okay, next up, I want to connect my master to the brake lever before I really get this stuff bolted up into position. This is going to give me the best possible access to do this right now. So we're going to take advantage of that. Remember, like I said earlier, if you're a street rider, you're going to want to get one of our banjo pressure switches, right? You're going to replace that banjo bolt with that pressure switch, which will allow you to retain the function of your rear brake light switch. It'll just be sensing the pressure from the rear brake line when you've stepped on the pedal, okay? Race applications, track applications, that is not necessary. Go ahead and most of the stuff that you'll see come out of Woodcraft, it certainly has street-based applications, no doubt, you know, but he really relies on the rigors of the racetrack heavily with his designs. Okay, so the parts cross over for sure, but you'll see a lot of racetrack built into everything that they do over there. And realistically, if you own a sport bike and you haven't been to the racetrack with it yet, you need to get that on your list of things to do. Okay, we are cooking with gas now. Two main fasteners here. I'm not going to Loctite these. That's a personal choice, right? Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have that back off to make some adjustments to my foot peg down the road. The other two spacers I mentioned, okay, they are right here. And they will be used in between our master cylinder and our mounting bracket. You'll also note I'm skipping the Loctite here. Get that one started so we don't lose our spacer. Slide our other spacer in. Go, master cylinder. Bolt it up. Get those started. Snug up my main bolts. Exhaust. Pretty impressed so far. I gotta tell you, not a lot of tugging, pushing, or pulling. The fit on these is precise. Phenomenal job here. We have our exhaust bolt. Just going to use the stock piece there. Get that exhaust back into position here. Around a little bit. There is a slot in the exhaust canister here where the nut is able to move around. Get that into position so the bolt can grab it like so. Get that snug. The rest of these, make sure we have good torque. At some point, we're going to have to adjust the brake lever. I'm going to do that before I go out and ride the motorcycle. Right, we'll loosen it up here at the rod, get the length to where I want it. Probably needs to be down a little bit more. So there we have it. Here is our brake side install for for the Woodcraft Rear Sets complete with Brian Van putting the brake pedal on backwards. Okay, now we're on to the easy side, and I'm going to do my damnedest to do this without making a mistake. Shift side. I've already converted this to GP shift using the standard shift pedal. There's a video showing you how to do that. All you need is a 6mm tap, and you're able to make that switch. First thing I'm going to do is remove my stock stuff. I'm going to be reusing this. Pull the cover up for that hind joint. All the stock shift rod gets reused, which is pretty cool. Makes life a little easier there. Stock pivot. We're going to reuse the washer and the pivot bolt as well. Another advantage with Woodcraft is this stuff, keep all your stock stuff. You take those to the racetrack with you as spares. If you have a little tip over, you can save your day by just putting everything back together, which is pretty sweet. We're going to remove our stock mounting fasteners. Next set of rear sets I'm going to do, I'm going to warm up on the shift side. Okay, stock rear set off. We're going to be reusing a few of these fasteners. Once again, I'm going to open up by putting my foot peg on. I'm going to choose the same hole that I did on the other side. No Loctite here. I know the instructions say to use it. We're not going to do it because I anticipate taking this all apart and moving it around. Integrated heel guard on this side. Simplifies the design a little bit. Some good torque on this. I will also not be using Loctite on the mounting bolts for this install, as I anticipate pulling this back apart. Okay. Once you have everything dialed in, it is a good idea to get in there. If you've done it like I have without the Loctite, pull it apart after it's dialed in, put some thread locker on it, just help you avoid any problems. Good torque on these. Okay, shift pedal. You can see that we have 4 tapered fasteners here. We have the same eccentric adjuster available to us that we did on the other side. This pedal will allow you to go either standard or GP shift. Use the 2 longest fasteners to bolt the lever to the pedal, like so. I'm definitely going to Loctite this. No reason for this to come apart. At least no pleasant reason. Run these down. Good torque on these with our thread locker. Now we will use the shortest of the 4 fasteners for our toe piece. I'm sorry, this will actually be used, the shortest one will be the one that's used to bolt the eccentric to the lever. The second longest will be the one that holds the toe piece in place. Okay, choose a position here. I think I'm going to go right about here. This is probably another one that'll be pulled apart eventually, right as I dial in the position for the shifter. Shortest of the 4 bolts, it's going to go here. And the reason is so you don't have hardware protruding out. All right, so that's where we're going to go with that. Lubrication, just like we showed you on the brake side, very important. All right, get that good and lubed up. Pedal bolts on in this direction. Got a spring washer here on the outside. Flat washer on the inside. A little bit of thread locker. Definitely not a bad idea with your shifter. I mean, this gets a ton of activity. Think about it every time you ride. You want to make sure you've got this put together very, very well. I've seen more than one person lose a race because their shifter literally fell off their motorcycle. All right, so take your time here. And as routine maintenance, you want to have a look at this often. Good smooth action. Okay, now shift pattern. If you're a standard shift rider, you're going to use the forwardmost hole. If you're a GP shift rider, you are going to use the rearwardmost hole. My preference is GP shift. And this design, just like the stock one, allows you to use the factory quick shifter on this motorcycle, which is pretty amazing. Able to use that for standard or reverse shift without any issues. Go ahead and snug that up. Notice I did put thread locker on that as well. Cover the heim joint with the protective boot. Increase the service life. Now, if I were to adjust the shifter, okay, and that actually looks like a pretty decent position, but if I need to adjust that, I want to get a 4mm Allen, right? And I can get in behind there and not have to take anything apart, loosen anything up other than just this, and move that eccentric around. So it would make adjusting this very easy. You would never even have to loosen the jam nuts on the rod. Last thing here is put that finishing plug in our rear set. There you have it. The first commercially available rear sets. Eric did a phenomenal job. These things look great. They installed great, except for me putting the brake lever on backwards. But we corrected that. Fully adjustable. Modular. Able to replace every individual piece if you have the need to do so after a crash or worn out, whatever the case may be, and they always have good stock on that. These are the Woodcraft Rear Set install on our 2015 Yamaha YZF R1 STG project bike.